I'll call to order the notice of the public hearing of the Urbana City Council Committee of the Whole. Notice is hereby given that the proposed annual budget for the city of Urbana in the county of Champaign, state of Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025, is on file and conveniently available for public inspection on the city's website. Notice is further given that a public hearing on said proposed annual budget will be held at 7 p.m. on Monday, June 17th, 2024. Estimated revenues for the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 are $77.5 million, and estimated expenditures are $90.6 million. All interested persons are invited to attend in person or watch the hearing on UPTV or live stream the hearing online. Persons attending the hearing shall have the right to provide written and oral comments, suggestions regarding the proposed annual budget. I call this public hearing to order. Darcy, will you call the roll?
Ms. Wu.
Here.
Mr. Evans.
Here.
Ms. Hersey.
Here.
Ms. Colasetti.
Here.
Ms. Bishop.
Here.
Ms. Wilkin.
Here.
Mr. Quisenberry.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here.
Okay, and the next item on the agenda is public input. Does anyone wish to give public input at this public hearing of the budget?
Hello, my name is Derek Briles. I'm a resident of Ward 4 in Urbana, and I'm here again this evening to urge you to not pass the police budget. You've heard from many community members tonight and over the past few weeks, and they've provided ample facts, figures, statistics, data points that all seem to indicate that crime is on the decline and that there are community services badly in need of the resources that you are proposing to give to the police. If after all this time you don't know how we define public safety or what we expect as your constituents, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you need to clean your ears. I'm not here to repeat these statistics or these arguments. You know the numbers by now, and it's up to you to make wise, data-driven decisions. I'm here to tell you that there is another way. I'm sure you're all familiar with the term ACAB, which, if you'll pardon my language, does mean all cops are bastards. But what you might not know is what that saying actually means. It's not an accusation of individual police officers. It's not an attack on the morals or the conscience of the people behind the badge. Rather, it's an indictment of the system of policing. The United States is the largest jailer in the history of the world. There are currently roughly 1.8 million human beings imprisoned in America. And if you're not appalled by that number, then you'll have to seriously examine your conscience. There are not 1.8 million bad people in this country. There are not nearly 2 million souls who cannot be trusted to live their lives among their fellow man. We have a disease eating us alive from the inside, and that disease is an unjust and corrupt system. Every police force in this country, including the UPD, is part of this inhumane system. Every use of force, every arrest, every booking into the dismal Champaign County Jail just perpetuates unnecessary cruelty. But why do we do this? Why are we jailing people at alarming rates? Like most things, you just have to look at who benefits from this process. The wealthy are the clients of the police. The police protect the property of the capitalist elite. They don't protect people. We keep us safe. The police do not. And the police are key suppliers of slave labor. The 13th Amendment of the Constitution permits slavery as punishment for a crime, and prison labor is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The prisons of this country house a hidden workforce held captive and brutally exploited for their labor. And the UPD is part of that. I am not here to ask you to fix the problems of our troubled and declining country, but I am asking you to choose to be part of the solution. Don't give in to cynicism. Don't throw your hands up and say there's nothing I can do. There certainly is. You have the power to take a step in the right direction. You have the opportunity to be a glimmer of hope in a darkening world. I know that voting against this budget will not miraculously solve our problems. I'm a realist. I'm a practically minded person. What I do know is that we have to start doing things differently if we want things to change. We have to prioritize affordable housing, poverty reduction, and health care. Will you prioritize helping the most vulnerable in our community? Or will you turn your backs on them and embrace an antiquated and oppressive system? I urge you to make the right decision and take a stand for the people who need you the most.
Hey there, everybody. First, I just want to say welcome to Matthew Shipley. We're a fun town. My name's Ben Jocelyn. I'm a resident of Urbana. Second, I just want to say a lot of us really try to talk to you. I've sent you a lot of emails, and I really try and use as much information and gentle tone as I can. I know that you're tired of seeing me. I'm tired of being here. The world has so many troubles. It has so many troubles, and the way we respond, the way we move forward, there's just no city in this country that has policed its way into being safer. The cities that have more police feel less safe. Chicago has a police force that's 3 times as large as ours. They have a whole community policing department, and they're not known for a lack of gun violence. They're not known for a place where shootings don't happen and people feel safe. This city is partially safe because we have a history of taking care of each other better. Our police department is smaller than most, and I think that is one of the reasons why there's, as you did say, Charisse, our experiences are all different, and I don't mean that everybody's normal is the same. But every time we have a budget, we have a choice to make about which way we try and move in this world that has a lot of troubles. We can either move towards resourcing or we can move to fear and gun holding, and that's just not an efficient way to solve the problems. And even if we have crime go down in short term, Larry Boone often talks about how crime went down for his first 2 years, and then when they stopped listening to him, crime rose for the last 3 years of his time as police chief. But I think that it's really easy to prescribe causes and just claim reasons for why crime went up or down, but usually it's national trends. So much of it has to do with the economy and how people are doing. The biggest theft in this country, the most stuff that's stolen is actually wage theft. And I've never seen a police department arrest people because of wage theft. People arrest folks who steal bread and necessities. And I don't mean to minimize how awful it is when folks are robbed. I had my car rifled through the other day, and I've spent the last month wondering if 1 or 2 of my possessions that I still haven't tracked down are really gone from my life forever. But that is not going to be stopped by a police officer. We might disappear a person for a few years behind bars, but that won't. We know that when folks get taken away and put in jail, they're more likely to create crime and get arrested later in their lives as well. So we need to invest in a system that long-term is going to move us in the right direction, not in the wrong direction. Policing has never been proven to move us in the right direction. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Stephen McGuire. I had a question in that it seems after public comment, there was one of the city council members mentioned data by Chief Boone saying that violent crime increased. According to statistics, in 2021, there were 10 homicides. There were 3 in 2023, a decrease. Shots fired, there were 115 in 2021. There were 43 in 2023, a decrease. Sexual assault, there were from 2011 to 2022, there were 30% per year, and there were 16 in 2023, a decrease. Robberies between 2011 and 2022, there were 44 per year, and there were 38 in 2023, a decrease. Domestic calls, domestic abuse calls went up by 15%. Battery went up by 4%. So I'm curious, will the data that came in, because there's an old saying, figures never lie, but liars always figure. How you allocate data is very important in what shows up, the conclusions you come up with. If you somehow relegate something to a different category. In science, we have to deal with what's called p-hacking, where people change sample sizes and other attributes to change the conclusions they arrive at. Will we get to see this data that was given not to the public, but to the city council? That's one question. Another point, when I forget which city council member mentioned that the increase, apparently I'm not sure what time period that increase was, in reports of sexual assault, I want to clarify that my interpretation of her statement was not that somehow these weren't happening, but that oftentimes sexual assault is not reported, and therefore the increase may be sexual assaults that were happening anyway, but finally we're getting reports of them rather than them not being reported. And also I want to say that we have a right to be angry. Our tax dollars are being increased. Our mayor is going to leave potentially and not see the consequences of this, and yet she still gets a vote on this matter. She promised the chief that he would have the votes of the city council without consulting a lot of you guys. And so I think we have a right to be angry about this. And I admit that incendiary rhetoric is never fun to deal with, but I think when we're seeing, when we've been calling out for social services for a long time, and over 15 times the amount that's being spent on social services is potentially going to be spent adding police. And on top of that, we hear from Danielle, a wonderful statistic, that you could use a fraction of this and totally end homelessness. We have a right to be angry. Thank you.
My name's Chris Ellie. I've been a member of the CU community for over 30 years, and I'm a little frustrated by the call that at least some of the members of council will refuse to listen to public comment unless there's certain rules of decorum or appropriate politeness. I don't know if this is incendiary or not, but that is a very colonial white supremacist technique where if someone is having an emotional response, that you tell them, I'm not going to listen to you, you don't deserve to be listened to. I just want to talk about how shameful that behavior was. And then I'd like to move on and talk about math and analytic literacy and the expertise of the chief to weaponize that, bamboozle people. We can talk about his graph from December, where he took a bar graph from some journalist in Norfolk and hand drew a red trend line on a bar graph where one of the bars was twice the size of the other bar, even though there was a 30% difference in the numbers associated to that bar graph. I mean, I know he didn't make it, but then he came here with it and doled it out to completely mislead people. And then we get the budget report that absolutely had no substance or merit to it. And we're expecting that this guy doesn't have math I refuse to believe you don't have math literacy. I think you know what you're doing. And I think you're confusing people like members of the council who clearly couldn't understand the difference between reported and actual crime rates. You're preying on that ignorance to confuse people. I really don't like this. I don't think there's any faith out of these numbers. Like, let's talk about what a community conversation looks like. The Barry Dunn report told you as a council to form a committee of the community. Your task force told your police department to form a committee. You've walked around offering to talk to people, but you want to do it inside your own way. You don't want a committee that has substantive authority over you. Neither of you want that. That's where this conversation would have taken place. Instead of Mary Alice completely butchering likely terrible stats, we could have talked about it in a community committee. It could have been analyzed. We could have dug into the numbers. We could have had a conversation about it. This is an inappropriate format. This is a really shameful way for you to pretend that you want to have a community conversation. So let's talk about our communities and what will repair them, because we've learned from decades of law and order rhetoric that you destroy families. And when you destroy families, you don't have a functional society. When you have more cops, you get more criminals, because they're looking for nails and they're going to put people away. And then you ruin more families that then go on to not heal properly and not raise new citizens that keep them from interacting with the police. This is not the way to go. I don't understand how in my lifetime we've lost that lesson, that there are people from the impacted communities who have lost their class relation, who have gotten to a point of privilege, and now no longer care about what damage that does to this community. And I really appreciate the people that are working to keep this community together. The community seems to be doing most of the heavy lifting right now, and we're inviting you on board.
As I first stated, I'm Reverend Dr. Evelyn Underwood. I've been in this community, at least 70 years, and been coming to city council and all for probably the last 40. The budget. I think I'm looking at this right now. It's been a while since I poured over the budget with the assistance of the staff. About 5 or 6 years ago, and I hope I'm still looking at this right. Am I reading this right? A 13.1 million shortfall, is that it? Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I thought I saw.
No, that's not correct.
Oh, then did I do the, yeah. What does that mean? I took 90.6 and took 77.5 from 90.6. I got 13.1 million. Is that not right? What is that? Oh, it's not a shortfall? So it's not balanced, is it? Is it balanced? Okay, somebody, okay, they can't talk to me, but anyway, the budget, ma'am, the budget is a moral document. Many people have said that over and over again as I watched. Now, maybe I've seen this before, but I don't think I've seen it before. There's been that much of a difference between expenditures and revenues. I don't like looking at it. Maybe I'm looking wrong, but I don't like looking at it. Now, I know there's things, there's budget amendments and all that, but I just don't like the way it looks here, yeah. I would just like to say there's been much discussion, and as I said, I wasn't here, I was at home, and I was listening to the budget and I know we were gonna. Well, I didn't see anything like this. I guess I didn't think that we would be presenting a budget with that much of a shortfall, difference in expenditures, and I know there's a possibility of balancing it, but how? And what input will we have? And one example, I've just been listening to, I underline, community services. And in listening, every time we come to community services in heaven, I know they're committed dealing with youth and all, and from what I understand, they're planning to increase somewhat the community services. However, I believe I heard the other night someone saying, the council people were talking, and maybe it was that Tuesday night after they had stayed till 11 o'clock, then Monday night, and then they went over the next night, and they were talking about the budgets and all of that. I think that's when I can recall that. And I heard someone say that when it comes to community services, I guess it was reimbursement. I think it was Braden. They asked him a question relating to that, and there was something about the fact that if an organization was receiving funding, and I guess they reimburse them, and they could cut them off in 30 days without cause. I said, wait a minute, without cause? And they agreed, yeah, without cause, they can do it. They have, but I said, now, we've given monies, had other monies for different things, but like things rather than people. When it comes to people and people's lives, and just like the gentleman that spoke, and the young lady that spoke, I'm not naming names, so I don't want them to do me like what happened to Miss Jasmine in this House of Representatives, no, the Senate, the Congresswoman. So I want to make sure is that my time up? Okay.
I just wanted to add that the document is not available on the website. I looked a couple days ago, and even today, and it said it's not found. So the document in here is not available.
All right. Hey there. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna stop you. I'm glad you brought that. Hey there again, I'm Camille. Councilmember Hersey, I sent you an email just now. I would love to talk with you more about this. I've really spent a lot of time digging into that report. I've been approaching it from a place of curiosity, and I disagree with some of the ideas behind what leads to recommendations, but I can talk this through with you, and my understanding might mean digging into a little bit of math together, but I think we can approach it pretty reasonably. I sent an email a while ago offering that to any of y'all. I'm still totally open to it. You got my email. And sure, Councilmember Hersey, I sent you another one, and that would be great. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Okay, if there's no further public input, I was going to read it at the next meeting. Then I will call this public hearing. I'm going to read them at the next meeting. Adjourned.